3-tiered wooden tray made out of scraps from my wood shop. I'm Angela. I love doing woodworking, so I'm glad you joined me today. So let's head on over into the wood shop. To start this project, I cut some slats. They were 2.5 inches wide, 3/4 of an inch thick. So I just cut strips down the table saw using the table saw because there's a 30-degree miter on the bevel on the bottom, so that the tray's edge around each tray kind of kicks out a little bit. So it makes it easier to use and put things in and out of the trays. So it kind of had that little bit of a slant to it. So again, ran those through, and now I'm cutting everything, the 45s on the chop saw. Lots and lots of cuts. I did make multiples. It seems to go faster since I'm already set up and already making the cuts. I just like to make multiples. Just seems to go faster. Get them all assembled here. I've got all the little trays assembled. There is a solid piece of wood on the bottom of each tray, and then I just use some, again, little scrap pieces of wood for feet on the bottom, the very bottom. So I'm kind of attaching those now. And since I do use scrap wood, I enjoy that because it gives everything a second life. You can see the spindles are just kind of sitting there. Those also are scraps, and I just like to use what I have available. Here I am pre-drilling the holes so that when the screw goes from the bottom up into that spindle, it's secure. But since I don't have a lot of hand strength, it's hard for me to kind of hold that straight and still while I'm screwing from the bottom side in. So this helps. Also, again, making sure I find the exact center with everything being made out of scraps. They're all different sizes, so nothing is really exact. Make sure you measure. And for me, pre-drilling. Here I'm going to unscrew from the bottom into that spindle, and you see how it just attached pretty easy because of that pre-drilled hole. I also did put a washer on the bottom because you don't want the screw head to wiggle or wobble or kind of waller itself out. You want it to be super strong because this is what's holding up the second and the third tray. So screwing that, and it helps me also to do more straight when I pre-drill holes like that. I don't go off to one side or the other. So getting that bottom spindle in. The next is going to be attaching the second tray. It's going to be a little bit different, although I do still also need to make sure that I find the center as well to pre-drill those holes. How it's attached is going to be different because I can't just screw down from the top down into that spindle because there's another tray and another spindle on top of this. So there's some special screws that I have that I'll show you in a minute. They're threaded on both sides, and they're made for this type of application. You can also use some wood glue as you're attaching all these things together. I don't think I did on this particular project, but here we go. I'm going to show you that, how that goes onto there. But we have to, oh, there's some little spindles that I made. Took it over to my sander. I just want to make sure that the bottom is really flat so that when it sits down onto that wood, you don't get a lean one way or the other on the tray that you're about to sit on top of it. So you want everything to be, it's hard to get round spindles perfectly flat. So here's that screw I was telling you about. It's threaded on both ends so that you can screw in one way and then screw in the other way. So I'll probably put it in the spindle first because I can use like a wrench or something to hold it and screw it into that. Again, pre-drilling the holes, very important. You don't want them to be too big, but got to make them at least big enough to get it going in there. So here I'm going to twist that screw down in there. It's got to go through that bottom piece of wood and then still have enough screw sticking out that it can go down into the spindle that's below it. So these are made for this type of application again, and they're very thick and very heavy duty because it's important to have that strength again so that when you put things into the trays they don't lean. So here you can see it going down into the spindle below it, and this is what's going to give it its strength, and it's heavy duty, and the twisting and the turning, even though I did pre-drill the holes, you don't want them to be too big because then it won't sit right. And you can do some straightening here too if you feel like it's leaning one way or the other. Once you get it twisted down in there, you can straighten it out at this point, but get it really, really tight. As tight as you can get it. Come on, girl, you got more. Twist it. Work it. Now I'll screw down from the top down into this spindle here, and again using a washer so that it doesn't waller out that top. And now straighten it out just a little bit, a little tweaking here and there. Looks good. And you can kind of see the edges there, how they're kicked out, that 30-degree angle, and then the 45s on each corner. Just putting a few more. Maybe I put another washer on the bottom, not sure, but there's one finished tray. Looks good. Bring it a little closer, let me see. There we go. Here's another spindle, got my screw down in there. Again, got my measurements. Now it has to go down into that bottom spindle and make sure that it's not too loose. You gotta really twist it and turn it so that it's super tight, because this is where it gets its strength from. And these trays are going to be used probably in a kitchen or something to hold fruit or something, so it can't be really loose. You don't want it to just free spin or wobble around. And also, again, you could use some wood glue. It would help probably a little bit, but this application with these special screws really gives it a lot of strength. So we're going to drill that final hole, put that on, put another washer on there, let it wobble around, and then we're going to go into the studio and start painting. I've had made them, I've stained some just brown, I've painted. White is the most popular color. I did actually paint one black for a lady who has a lot of black in her kitchen. It turned out pretty nice. Not my kind of thing, but the second one here I'm painting like an off-white. Not everybody likes the white, but the finished product is a unique tray that's pretty rustic and can be used for a lot of different things in the kitchen or just decorative in your home. Multi-use, that's for sure. I do have some, and they've been pretty popular. I did enjoy making this. I hope you got some value or entertainment, either way, out of what we saw today. If you want, you can place comments down on the bottom and tell me what you think about what you saw today. And if you have any questions or any comments, I would love to hear from you. And so here again is the finished. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.